Hey guys, it's Sasha. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in May. Now before I do that, please check the links out down below where you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. I've popped 2 cards down there and they have all the information, all the different petitions you can sign, all the funds you can donate to, so on and so forth. Use your voice when others can't. The first book I want to talk about, I've read most of it through April, but I finished it in May, and that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. This is the first book in her new Crescent City series. I loved it. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I'm not quite sure where my copy's gone. I think I've given it to my mum to borrow. But this book focuses on Bryce, who is half human, half fae, and it starts off where she's basically going out with her best friend, who is the leader of the werewolf pack in the town in Crescent City. Well, no, actually Danica doesn't actually go out with them, but she's going out, she's having a good time, and then she hears this news that Danica and the werewolf pack have been murdered, and you all know this from the back of the book, so that's not a spoiler at all. So it's like 2 years later, and the person who was put in jail for the murder of her best friend is now free, and the murders are happening again. So it's her trying to find out why Danica was murdered, and there's all these other things that are happening as well. It's not just finding out the murders about Danica, it's also finding like this mythical object, and then just like all these secrets being unfolded, and then she meets up with this angel whose name is Hunt. He is the badass. I know, the whole time I just was thinking of Cassian in my head. Like every time she described Hunt, I'm like, that's Cassian. Like, she needs to make new male characters, please. Rhysand will forever be my bae, and so will Kale. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. It made me cry so much. Like, Sarah J Maas definitely knows how to make someone cry, and yes, I really enjoyed it. Give 5 out of 5 stars. It was... The next book I read in May was A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is a middle grade novel. Focuses on these 3 sisters, mainly the one middle sister who wants to leave this town and go explore the world, but finds out that she's actually cursed. Her and her sister's all cursed, and they cannot leave this town because if they do by sunset or the next day, they will die. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It kind of reminded me of Furyborn by Claire Legrand, with like the dual timelines that was happening, because you not only have the POV of the main character, but you also have like the POV of 1,000 years ago, whatever, of this witch, and like how the curse started. And it was just really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty dark for a middle grade, to be quite honest with you, but I listened to it on audio. I think that if you like middle grade, and if you don't mind a bit of like darkness in your middle grade, definitely pick this book up. The next book I picked up, which is another middle grade, is A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars as well. I really enjoyed it. I know that Jade and my friend Britt both really enjoy it as well. So this is about this girl who moves to a new town because her dad got a job there as he's not an optometrist. He has a certain word, but he helps people like fix their eyes. And they come to this place called Perfect, where everyone wears glasses, and she did not want to move there. She wanted to stay with her friends in Kentucky or wherever she's from, but then she meets this boy that no one else can really see either, and it was just a really wild ride. I really enjoyed it. It's got like all the perfect things for a middle grade adventure book. This one was kind of pretty dark too. Just like the villains were a bit like scary. Like if I read that when I was younger, I probably would have had nightmares. But I really enjoyed it. I really don't want to give too much away because it is a series, and if you like to find out things on your own, then I suggest you pick this up. I will be picking up the next book soon because I want to find out what happens in this town called Perfect. The next book I picked up was Jinxed by Amy McCulloch. This is a YA kind of sci-fi-ish, kind of utopian-ish. It's really hard to explain. So Jinxed is about, it's like this little township in, I think it's Ontario or Toronto. Everyone there have these little technology called bakus. And what a baku is, it's like a smartphone, but it's also like a companion. So you have like your level 1 bakus, which are like your insects, and then you've got your level 5s, which are like these gorgeous eagles, and they're all like technological made, so they're not like real animals, and they're also like, they've got the smartphone. It's like, it's really hard to explain, but I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So you've got the girl Lacey, where she's trying really hard to get into this school, which will then basically give her the right steps to go towards her dream job, which is to work for this company and become like an engineer to like help make all these bakus, and that's where her father used to work before he disappeared. So she's trying to get into the school, but things happen, and then she comes along this broken baku, and she fixes it up, and he's a bit different than all the other bakus that she's known. So I really enjoyed this book. It was kind of like a cross between like Pokemon and, oh, I said it to my husband, I'm like, it's a little bit like Pokemon, but also I cannot remember, but it was really interesting, like Pokemon aspect, because like the bakus are like animals, and they're like your companions. There's a little bit of like battling involved, which I found really cool. I really enjoyed that aspect. But yeah, it was a really good book. A friend let me borrow it over a year ago, and she messaged me and she's like, hey, can I have that book back? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so then I had to read it because I hadn't read it yet, and I just haven't really gone into town to give it back to her yet. So Michaela, you will be getting this back soon. I really liked it. Thank you so much for letting me borrow it. The next book I picked up is The World Is Ours by Abby Elise. This is a coming of age story about this boy called Riley, who is trying to find himself while he's trying to navigate between school and trying to navigate who he is and his sexuality and his family. I really enjoyed this book. I know people are comparing it to Simon, but I think this is so much better than Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, just because the friendships in this book, they're like true friends. In Simon, like the friends are like all just leave Simon when they like think he's done something wrong, where the friends in this group, when like things go down, like shit goes down in this book, but it was like the friends are stuck with him. It was so good. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked Riley and just the different relationships he has, like not just relationships but friendships with everyone, and he's just trying to come out of his shell. And I love Quincy in this book. Quincy is one of the twins who's like a partier, but like he becomes really close to Simon, and he's just like helps him out. Like he's like a shoulder to cry on whenever like something bad happens to Simon. And it was just really enjoyed this book. I really think everyone should pick it up. I found out about it because I follow the author on Twitter, and I'm like, I need this book, and so I asked my library to buy it, and here we are. So hopefully now that it's at the library, other people will be able to pick it up too, and hopefully people will be able to see themselves in Riley, and it was just, I really liked it. I really did. Then I picked up 3 of Us by Ella Good. This is just your sexy novella, really. Like, it's about this girl who's just started college and about her relationship with these twin brothers. I didn't really enjoy it because the twins were just very alpha male, and they were like really protective and like wouldn't let her, like they told her what she had to wear, and I just really didn't like it. But then also like they made some good points where the girl was very protective of them too, and like she was like, don't wear that and don't do this either. So I guess I did balance it out, but I just wasn't for me. And then like the sexy bits didn't really happen until the end either, and so I'm like, I pick up these sort of books to get right into it, not to wait. I'm not the biggest fan of slow burn, let's just say that. Then I picked up Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This book had me bawling. I did not read the back of it. Well, I didn't read all of the back of it. If I did, I would have known what would happen in the middle of the book, but I did not. And so when the big thing happened in the middle of it, I freaked out. I was crying because I had no idea that it was going to happen. Justice is your typical black 17-year-old. I think he's 17, 16 or 17, and he's like trying to get out of his bad neighborhood, and because he's going to an all-white public school, he goes to an all-white private school, and he's just trying to get away from the stigma. And one night he is trying to help his ex-girlfriend who is really drunk, and she's trying to drive a car, and he's like trying to say like, hey, don't do that, you'll kill yourself. And then a cop picks him up because he thinks that Justice is trying to steal the car and rape the ex-girlfriend. And he like didn't listen to Justice. He handcuffed him. And so Justice starts this like little experiment where he writes letters to Martin Luther King Jr. and just like saying like, what would he do in this situation? And yeah, it was very eye-opening. I really did enjoy it. I think it was just a bit too short, but I'm excited to read the sequel that's coming out. It's called Dear Justice, and it's about this guy who you meet in this book. I think his name's Kwan, and he's in jail, and like he's writing letters to Justice about why he's in jail, I think, and like how it all happened. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was a really quick read, but I just wish it was like more expanded on, because I wanted to read more about Justice and everything. And I really liked his friendship slash relationship with Sarah Jane, I believe her name is, because it focuses on topics of like obviously race and racial injustice, and also Justice's mum doesn't want Justice to date white girls, and he's like trying to say like, that's kind of racist too, mum, like you can't say, like can't do that. Anyway, go pick that book up. It was like so good. And then the last book I read in May was A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone. This was so good. I did not know what I was walking myself into, and I adored it. I only gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know why. I think because I feel weird to give like sexy books 5, but I really think I should bring it up to 5. Oh no, I think I only gave it 4 because I've heard spoilers about the next book, and I don't know. But so this book is about this girl called Poe, and she comes to this place from her past because she's offered a job there, and but she's also come there with an ulterior motive because that's where her mother was last seen before she disappeared. So she's come to there, and she's reunited with all these friends from her childhood. Everyone in this group is very sexy, and they're very hot, and they're very queer. I'm pretty sure they're all either bi or pan, and just Poe talks about like her ex-girlfriend and how that Poe herself is a sub, and then like you've got Auden and Saint Sebastian, who absolutely hate each other, but they also are very attracted to each other, and Poe's attracted to them both, and like they have this sort of like throuple thing going. It was so good. The whole story, like, I know I said I hate slow burn, but this sort of slow burn was really good because like you knew like the lead up to it was just going to be amazing, and it was. And I just the cover of this book too is super sexy, like so good, guys. So those were the 8 books that I read in May. What books did you read in May? Let me know down below. And if you want to talk to me about any of these books, please do, because I love to chat about the books that I read, especially like A Lesson in Thorns and Jinxed and Dear Martin, and just probably, yeah, just all of them. Just if you have read them, tell me so that we can chat and like go gaga over them. But if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to be my friend, you can add me on Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter. They're all at Sasha Reads, and I'll see you next time. Bye!